Hello there, people of the internet. I have in my possession here, this is a C-grade Hakim. This right here is one that I got from Royal Tiger Imports a little while ago. And, well, it has definitely seen better days. Chambered in 8mm Mauser, this is supposed to be a semi-automatic rifle that sends lead downrange, depending on bullet, projectile, whatnot. We're going to call it 198 grain projectiles. Sends 198 grain projectiles downrange at about 2,600 or so feet per second. These right here are really unusual rifles because the firing mechanisms on them are just extremely strange. I've already made a video about this particular one. In the video I made on it, this rifle was completely and utterly seized up, like beyond all hopes of recovery. Now that being said, as you can see, the rifle has, since been broken free. I spent probably a month straight just beating the ever-living hell out of this rifle in an effort to get it unstuck. It took a tremendous amount of time, effort, and force. At first, I was using hammers and then screwdrivers and just smacking and beating, and I ended up taking it outside to the concrete and just throwing it on the ground repeatedly. It took a lot of time and a lot of effort, and once I finally got inside, I understood why. By a huge margin, this is the worst condition rifle that I have in my collection. On the outside, it doesn't look too terribly awful. It looks like it's still serviceable in some aspects. On the inside, there were literal hunks of like rusted metal just absolutely falling off of this thing. The bolts, like the rust on the bolt had caused it to swell up to the point to where it was almost unrecognizable as a bolt. I do plan on getting in there again. I've already had it apart and I put it back together. I do plan on getting in there again with a grinding wheel and getting rid of as much of that rust as possible to see what it is that I actually have to work with. But I thought I'd go ahead and make kind of like a follow-up video on this. Alright, a couple of things. On the rear, where the safety normally is, whenever I tried turning that safety, it literally just kind of crumbled in my hand. Like, the safety was just rusted off. So I went out and I got myself a 5mm wrench, which seems to fit in there and catch onto the thing that the safety normally hooks onto. Catch onto that pretty gosh darn well. And the safety was like completely rusted shut. Like there was no way that I was going to be able to turn that safety until I got the gun apart. The screws on this thing was an absolute nightmare to get off. They were really, really bad condition, but I did eventually get them off. I got the barrel and receiver out of there to where I had access to the bottom of the safety, and it was just a nightmare. The fire control group, complete rust, like it was really bad. I should have documented how bad it was, but I spent a month just going through this thing trying to get it apart. The barrel and this little sliding cover on top, they were seized together so horrendously. It was really a nightmare bashing these things, trying to get them broken free, but I did eventually get them broken free. And now that I got them broken free, our sliding cover does in fact slide on the Hakim. It does not catch onto the bolt, simply because on the back of our cover here, you see this little piece right here? That is a hook that is supposed to hook onto a spot on the bolt, but that spot on the bolt is rusted and gone. So that, I mean, that's just not going to happen. I could replace that and essentially turn this into a somewhat usable rifle. But since I got that broken free, what I've been doing to get this bolt back, I'll show you guys here in just a moment. I have this big screwdriver that I've been using to get the bolt back, and that's probably just how I'm gonna cycle this rifle, at least for now. So if I had a magazine for this thing and I were to cycle the firearm like that, then we might, I know that's sketchy every time I do it, then we might have something that's relatively workable. Inside of the chamber, I have no idea how bad it is. I have not even attempted cleaning out the chamber itself. I'm expecting it to be really, really bad because the inside of the barrel itself is really, really bad. I went through with a wire brush and a drill, and I did my best to clean this out. It had so much like mud inside of it, and the rifling inside the barrel is just completely gone the entire way through. It's just absolutely rotted out. There is no way that we're going to get any accuracy out of this rifle whatsoever if we do decide to take it out and actually shoot it. I'm probably still going to take it out and actually shoot it at some point once I get everything done with this rifle. It's still not a functioning rifle. Even if I did put ammo in it and pull the trigger and whatnot, there's no way that it would safely go off. I got to do something with that bolt. I got to get the locking recesses appropriately cleaned up and whatnot, because right now they're just rounded with rust. The gas system itself in this rifle seems okay. There's not really anything notable about that. In order to cock this rifle, I do have to use that screwdriver or whatever other external piece that I have, because the sliding cover on this just does not want to do anything. The safety on this is like bent and rusted and rounded and broken. There's like a broken piece off of it. The safety itself is just completely not functional, so I might end up just removing that little safety bar altogether, because as of right now, as I pull the trigger, which was also completely seized up whenever I got this gun, absolutely nothing happens. If you notice on the back of the rifle here, you'll notice our dust cover is not all the way back. That's because the safety itself has had some deformation on it. We should still be able to pull the trigger and have it go off with how this thing works, but it is not happening because that safety bar, instead of being, you know, straight down where it's supposed to be, it's bent like this, and it's a ball of rust. So that's just not going to happen. I'm definitely going to have to remove that. So there's going to be no safety on this rifle. The locking recesses on this rifle are just very, very sketchy. There's no way to cock this rifle without a screwdriver or anything, and we are also missing our magazine. The stock on this rifle also has a tremendous amount of cracks and whatnot on the surface. We got termite damage of all kinds here. And the chamber in this thing is completely gone. And the barrel in this thing is also completely gone. Like, this Hakim at this point is more or less a wall hanger and just not serviceable. For the most part, my guns, I try to refurbish them and get them up and going well enough to be able to take to the range and shoot them. And I think I've been successful with every single firearm that I own. But this one is really, really bad. Like, bad to the point to where firing a full-powered 8mm Mauser cartridge through this thing is just a little bit too sketchy for my taste. Next time I take apart the rifle, I'll probably make another video talking about the internals of the rifle. But, like, the locking surfaces in this thing, they don't really lock. And the safety on this thing doesn't really safety. And the trigger on this thing doesn't really trigger. And the stock on this thing, I mean, it does stock things until you shoot it, in which case it's probably going to fall apart immediately because it's got just this horrendous amount of dry rot and cracking all over the thing. And the barrel does not do barrel things. The gas system, it might do gas system things. I don't know. I'm not sure how plugged up that gas system is with God knows what sort of debris inside of it. I have no idea. But I do have it broken free, at least, to where I can have a look at it. So this is the follow-up on that, I guess. Thanks for watching, folks. I appreciate your time. Like, subscribe, share. Description below is a link to all sorts of stuff. Go check it out. You guys go off, have yourself a fantastic day. I'll see you on the next episode.
since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. The poor man's Garrett. It's a shame that bolt-action shotguns aren't more mainstream.